Now, for people like me, the history of Tinian is probably most closely associated with the airfields that the U.S. military set up here during World War II, and where all the B-29s took off from to launch raids on the islands of Japan. But there's a history on this island that predates World War II. So before we make our way north, I wanted to stop at a spot here real quick and show something. What we are looking at here are the archaeological ruins of something called the House of Taga. Taga was a legendary chief of the Chamorro people who was said to have possessed superhuman strength, and these pillars here would have formed the foundation of his house. There were originally 12 here, but over time some of them have disappeared. This one here still stands. So if you look at that rock on top, like, these things were about 12 to 15 tons. And what's really interesting is the Chamorro, who are the indigenous people of the Marianas, had no beasts of burden. So there were no oxen, there were no donkeys or anything like that. So all of this had to have been built by hand and carved out with hand tools. That is pretty crazy. The reason I wanted to start here is because I think it's significant to think about all of the change that this island has seen. So at some point, we call them primitive people, but man, there were some tough people who got in some hollowed out canoe and set out from somewhere and made their way to this island, which, heck, I couldn't do that, and then created this culture. And then in 1945, it's pretty amazing to think that the first nuclear bomb used in warfare would be loaded up and sent out from this very place. All right, we're gonna go ahead and make our way to the north side of the island, but that was the House of Taga. Okay, so we've moved up to the north part of the island, and the area where I'm standing is where North Field would have been located. There were 4 runways here, codenamed Able, Baker, Charlie, and Delta, and it was from this place that the U.S. was going to be flying hundreds of missions up to Japan with the B-29s to try and bomb the Japanese into submission. I seriously can't even believe that I am here right now. This is an area that I never in my wildest dreams thought that I would make it to. So the runway that we are standing on right now is the furthest north. This is runway Able. Now, of course, Tinian is well known for being the place where the Enola Gay and Boxcar flew their missions out of to bomb Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I'm not exactly sure what runway they would have used. But man, it is crazy to think that this airfield that at one time would have been one of the busiest airports on planet Earth now looks like something out of The Walking Dead. Like, look at that. I literally drove my car onto this runway. Something else. Okay, got a few more sites that we're going to visit here that are associated with the atomic bomb. Okay, kid, and I can't help myself. We've got to drive down this runway and get a little bit of a first-person view of what the B-29 pilots would have seen as they were going down this runway. Ah, so cool. Well, it sure as heck doesn't look like much now, but this right here is the atomic bomb assembly area. So obviously what we're looking at is the foundation where a building formerly stood here on North Field on Tinian, and it was right here where all of the parts for the atomic bomb were put together and then sent to the place where we're going next. We have moved to the spot here on Tinian that, in my mind, is the most historically significant place on the island. It's right here, in these bomb pits, where two different atomic bombs, Little Boy and Fat Man, were loaded up on August 6th and August 9th respectively, and flown north to Japan on two different B-29s, and dropped and used in a time of war for the very first and only time in history. Well, right here we are looking at Bomb Pit number 1, where on August 6th of 1945, an atomic bomb, codenamed Little Boy, was loaded up on a B-29 called the Enola Gay, piloted by Paul Tibbets, and flown to the city of Hiroshima. So as we go around here, they have a few different pictures that show Little Boy down here in this very bomb pit being loaded up. Man, oh man, that is something else to be able to come here and see this. You have to wonder if those guys fully comprehended just how the world was going to change with what they were about to take part in. Yeah, there's bomb pit number 1. right over there is where we were just standing at bomb pit number 1. And right here is bomb pit number 2. And it was at this location that on August 9th, a B-29 by the name of Boxcar was loaded up with a plutonium-based atomic bomb nicknamed Fat Man. The pilot of Boxcar was a guy by the name of Major Charles Sweeney. They were with the 509th Composite Group of the 20th Air Force. And they would be flying to Nagasaki to drop the second atomic bomb. And then on August 10th, without the consent of his cabinet, the Japanese emperor decided to sue for peace. And that was going to bring an end to World War II. But man, I've been to the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. to see the Enola Gay, but to be here in Tinian, where it was actually loaded up, and then to be here at bomb pit number 2 where Boxcar was loaded up, that is something else. Well, there you go. Those were some of the historically significant sites right here on the island of Tinian. Pretty cool to be standing in this place and think about what went on here at this airfield and how literally history kind of changed on a dime right here in August of 1945.